Stress feels horrible mentally and physically. Some of the symptoms that we experience mentally are fatigue, confusion, delayed response times. Stress is also responsible for physical symptoms such as an increased heart rate, sweaty palms, dry mouth, a host of others. Chronic stress increases your risk for heart attack, hypertension, clinical anxiety, and another host of factors. So, how do we avoid these negative effects? Stand by and I'll tell you. Hi and hello and welcome to Prism Coaching. My name is Jennifer. I'm a professional and practicing coach. We talk on this channel about things that are keeping us performing at our best, openly and honestly, and I'm here to tell you why together is sometimes better. First, it is fair to mention that we're talking about stress. Not all stress is negative. Eustress, as opposed to distress, is actually a good stress. It increases your job performance. Basically, the idea behind this is the expression rising to the challenge. The threshold, that is the point at which your stress ceases to be positive and becomes negative, varies a lot in different people, but it's typically low. Although everyone is different, without training and without practice, it's not likely to move to a higher, more sustainable level in the average or typical person. So when we talk about increasing your threshold, what we're actually talking about is equipping you with the training and practice in order to handle stress. The more stress you handle reflexively, the more stress you handle without thought, the less impacted you are by small amounts of stress, particularly the situations you find yourself in daily. So one of the ways to deal with stress is to label it. Recognize your emotions and name it. So say something like, golly gee, my leg is jittery and I'm on edge. I feel anxious. Or, golly gee, I'm clenching my jaw and I could bite someone's head off. I'm angry. You've probably said or done something similar in your life without the use of golly gee, I'm sure. But the act of naming can have a cooling effect. It also empowers you to do something to deal with that emotion because now you've recognized it and now you can do something about it. So you might take a walk, you might switch to an easier task, you might put on some music or do some other self-soothing activity. Another way to deal with stress is to identify the triggers. So we responded to a stressful feeling, but what can we do about it when we know that we're about to be underwater? Well, we can write down everything that's bothering us. So maybe you had a really rough morning, the weather was terrible, you went to your closet to put on your favorite shirt, and you found a moth had a hole in it. You went to put away the breakfast dishes, and the dishwasher's broken. And I apologize if you heard my baby in the background. I promise my husband is watching him. Maybe you went into your car and the teenager dented it, and you get to your job and you found out you lost your paper, and basically you get the idea. By 10 a.m. your morning's pretty shot. If it's not one thing, it's another. Well, the first thing that we can do is cross off the items on that list that we can't change. So we're going to take everything out of our mind. We're going to clear our mind. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to look at that list. And the weather is going to be water off our back, possibly quite literally. And we can't do anything about the computer being slow and us losing the report. So we'll just do some deep breathing exercises. Then we're going to prioritize what remains. So that might be making a quick purchase of mothballs, making a phone call to the repair company, and then just filing those tasks away. If you don't have time, then maybe you'll set aside time for when you can accomplish those tasks. But once they're scheduled, we stop thinking about it. We don't take on that mental load. Don't let nuisances take up the space of an emergency. Then you have the mind space to take care of those looming issues. Those looming issues in this case, in this scenario, were like maybe you need that report, but you thought about a file recovery, so do that. You need to have a discussion with your teenager about responsible use of the car, but you also need to discuss who's paying for repairs. Those are big things. They are big stressors, but they are things that can be tackled. And instead of a list of 6 things, You created a list of 2, one to handle now, one to handle later. That's barely a list. And most people can handle one thing at a time. That's very well within the realm of responsibility. Last but not least, for this video, there's lots of other techniques, but for now, don't catastrophize. Don't make things worse than they really are and just play poor old Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh thinking poor miserable me. If it's raining, buy an umbrella. If you can't buy an umbrella, you show up wet. Big deal. We're not waterproof. It happens when it rains. If it was your favorite shirt that was eaten, put on another shirt. Buy another shirt. Put on a suit jacket. Appreciate the things you have, adapt and overcome. Don't let these little stressors blow up. Maybe your teenager took the car without permission, but they also didn't lie about it, so there's that. Maybe you lost the report, but your boss granted an extension, so there's that. I'm not saying you should put a silver lining on everything, but in general, gratitude is my go-to emotion for replacing more negative, harmful ones. You still have to deal with stress, but you can deal with stress in a way that's positive without it pulling you under. There are a number of perspectives that coaches can help you kind of leverage besides just gratitude. And I don't necessarily think that we should shove down negative emotions. We shouldn't. But we can practice labeling, and a coach can help you be accountable in that, and we can practice prioritizing, and again, a coach can keep you accountable as well as help you sort through kind of what's weighing on your mind, and you'll feel more able to handle the stressors of day-to-day living. And that can mean that you're more capable of handling something that really, really is stressful that comes along later. Life happens, divorce happens, financial difficulties happen, medical issues happen, and you want to be able to deal with those pressing issues in your life rather than the little things. You don't want to sweat the small stuff. But as you find that you can increase your stress threshold that we talked about, when a little bit of stress brings out your best performance and you can handle a lot of stress and still reach your peak performance, you're actually more likely to get promoted, and you're more likely to be able to handle bigger projects and bigger tasks. So this has a compound effect in your personal and professional life. If you think that learning how to deal with stress is something that can be helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourself and good to others. Bye.